Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to day 2 of AFCEA's Army Signal Conference. I am Bob Wood, Executive Vice President of AFCEA International, and we are very proud to host this event and foster this conversation on data, the ammunition of the future fight. We are glad to recognize and thank our sponsors and exhibitors who contribute solutions to our conversation and add support to the event. We encourage you to continue visiting the supporters on our event site. Today is packed with content. We will have 2 panels, a fireside chat and an opening keynote from the Director of DISA, Vice Admiral Nancy Norton. She will no doubt discuss the Department's ability to store, secure, move, and use the data so important to our diverse security missions. One of today's panels will bring this data discussion out to the tactical edge, and a second panel will help us re-examine workforce development needs in the face of future capabilities and threats. Our fireside chat brings remarkable strategic vision to a discussion of these same threats and capabilities. In all cases, you will have a chance to ask your questions through the chat function as you listen to the speakers. Your first chance today to do this will be as you join the live Q&A session that follows our keynoter's presentation. I'm so pleased to introduce our keynote speaker now. Admiral Norton has a distinguished career serving in fleet leadership positions at sea, on the Navy staff, within Joint Commands, and now at DISA. Her technical competence, broad operational experience, and remarkable leader skills have advanced vital missions from ship to shore and within and beyond the Department. Please welcome Admiral Norton.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me to speak to this esteemed gathering of Army Signal Corps soldiers, partners from industry and academia, and potential future DISA teammates, the students in attendance today. I always welcome the opportunity to talk about the important work that our team at DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN accomplishes every day. In my dual-hatted roles, I serve as Director of Defense Information Systems Agency, the agency that builds, operates, and defends the Department of Defense Information Systems Network, or DISN, and I command Joint Force Headquarters DODIN, that commands, controls, and synchronizes defensive cyberspace operations of all of the DoD components, including DISA. DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN rely heavily on members of the Army Signal Corps to accomplish our high-stakes missions. While I am a sailor with salty blood running through my veins, I have worked in joint communications since my first days as an ensign. I have the privilege and honor of serving with Signal Corps members every day at DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN. And both my brother and my brother-in-law served in the Army, so I fully appreciate the important work that the Signal Corps does every day to help the U.S. Army and the Joint Force maintain freedom of maneuver and secure the cyber high ground. Hooah! DISA is 6 decades old this year, but the Army Signal Corps has been around a century longer, and we rely on the Army to operate and maintain key facilities that support some of our most critical missions and equipment, from SATCOM and message traffic to nuclear command and control and communications, and JRSS. From their first days in boot camp, American soldiers are trained to shoot, move, and communicate. That communications part is where we all come in. That's why we are working with our industry and mission partners to be the trusted provider to connect and protect the warfighter in cyberspace, from the battlefield to the desktop, even if that desktop is now sitting on our kitchen tables. Last July, DISA released a 4-year strategy for 2019 through 2022 that sets a course to keep us ahead of our adversaries. This plan directly supports the National Defense Strategy's 3 lines of effort to increase lethality, strengthen our partnerships, and reform our business practices. It also supports the DoD CIO's digital modernization strategy as it relates to cloud, artificial intelligence, command control and communications, and cybersecurity. The plan includes 3 strategic goals: operate and defend, adopt, buy, and create solutions, and enable people and reform the agency. Within each goal, there are strategic objectives that include modernize the infrastructure, enhance operations, optimize for the enterprise, strengthen cybersecurity, drive innovation, enable people, and reform the agency. In this era of great power competition, DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN are working harder than ever to maintain the initiative in the cyber domain. DISA's strategic plan charts the course to be the nation's premier IT combat support agency. We planned for a lot of contingencies in our strategic plan. What we didn't explicitly plan for was a pandemic. But since March, like the rest of the Department of Defense, we've been supporting the whole of government response to COVID-19. As Secretary of Defense Mark Esper said, this pandemic is easily one of the greatest challenges that our nation has faced in its 244-year history. Thank you for persevering through such an unprecedented health crisis while keeping the world's greatest Army connected. At DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN, I am proud to say we have never shut down and we have never stopped working since this pandemic began. On the contrary, we have ramped up our operations to provide the entire Department of Defense with greater teleworking capabilities while adjusting our own battle rhythm to ensure the safety of our personnel. We have not just survived, we have thrived while working with a distributed workforce. What has happened across the cyber terrain since this pandemic started has been absolutely amazing. This has been truly unprecedented. In each of our strategic goals and objectives, we already had efforts underway or in the planning stages that were accelerated to support this massive shift of requirements. In some cases, we adopted or bought solutions to rapidly deliver to meet department demands. My team has helped to orchestrate an exponential increase in capacity for the department. New circuits, increased bandwidth, and increased conference call lines. As a part of the DoD COVID Telework Readiness Task Force, DISA greatly increased the department's telework capacity and continues to provide critical capabilities to our mission partners. This chart shows an example of DISA provisioning circuits that increase capacity by nearly 500 gigabits per second, added just since the beginning of this pandemic for our nation's warfighters around the world, with 63 new circuits and 102 circuit actions. Some of these were very high visibility circuits supporting Northern Command and FEMA's efforts to confront the pandemic directly by making sure that the U.S. Navy hospital ships, Comfort and Mercy, were able to communicate as they operated out of New York and Los Angeles. At the same time, we helped to support telework capability by increasing throughput at all of our DISA Internet access points. We also increased Army virtual private network access and reliability by nearly 300% and significantly increased Air Force VPN access. Leveraging our Joint Regional Security Stack remote access VPNs, we have supported a more than 1,000% overall increase in telework connections for joint partners around the globe, as you can see in this graph, from pre-COVID numbers of around 8,000 a day to a peak of 122,000 a day, particularly helping provide increased access to Forces OCONUS. The demand for mobility has never been higher, and my team has enabled, provisioned, and delivered secure mobile capabilities for our distributed workforce. We've also had to support service members, civilians, and contractors who are teleworking, in many cases without government-furnished equipment, and who needed audio and video conferencing, chat, and other collaboration capabilities, and we quickly availed. This led to adopting Microsoft Teams solution, the Commercial Virtual Remote Environment, or CVR, which has been widely adopted across the department that enabled them to work on personal devices. We will be transitioning from CVR to an enduring Microsoft 365 environment under the DIOS program. This will be initially for our joint mission partners in the combatant commands and fourth estate agencies. Most of all, this global health crisis has once again demonstrated that people are our greatest asset. Our incredibly dedicated, agile, and resilient workforce has exponentially expanded DoD's telework capabilities while adjusting to working and collaborating remotely. For years, we have been moving toward a more mobile, capable workforce where data are accessible anywhere and at any time. Together with our mission partners, we are capturing the processes and lessons learned for what we do for our mission partners. And we want many of these force-strengthening changes to be enduring. For a cyber-centric military that is used to operating inside the wire with physical security protecting our perimeter, we've had to tell our workforce to live in the wild and protect themselves. We bought a home-use antivirus program for DoD employees because they had to accomplish our high-stakes missions from the remote locations of their home offices, living rooms, and kitchens, day in and day out for months. While DISA and other service providers in the department provided the necessary IT and communication support for a mobile workforce, it didn't mean everyone was ready to work remotely for the long term. Even though they complete annual cyber awareness training, we worked with DoD CIO, U.S. Cyber Command, and NSA to educate the DoD workforce in very short order about best practices for cybersecurity and network capacity in a sustained telework environment, as well as enabled their ability to collaborate inside and outside of the department with a variety of tools, including voice and video capabilities. We used our cyber.mil website as an easy access portal for our policies and telework tips. We also produced a top telework tools playbook that provided a one-stop shopping guide for DoD-approved collaboration tools. Many of these changes, like enabling access to data anytime and anywhere, and increased collaboration tools, are enduring and will continue to increase the readiness of our agency and our nation's warfighters by giving them greater flexibility. We are also leveraging existing enterprise capabilities like DoD Safe, MilDrive, Defense Collaboration Services, and Global Video Services to enable our mission partners. I couldn't be more proud of the way my agency, my command, and the department have supported the whole-of-government approach to the COVID-19 response. But we have been thinking for a long time about the need to access our data while on the move from locations around the world and from a variety of devices. This complex environment drives us to evolve our thinking about cybersecurity. Under our traditional defense in-depth approach, we have tried to make the DODIN trusted and safe territory. Under our new Zero Trust model, we will always assume that our internal networks are as hostile as external networks. This uses a fundamental premise that denies all and allows by exception, rather than allowing all and denying by exception. Trust is an important factor in everything we do at DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN. It is even built into DISA's ethos. Trust in DISA, mission first, people always. Trust informs everything from the way we work with industry to the kind of leadership culture we've embraced. However, while we always need to maintain trust in our personal and professional relationships, we need to think differently about our cyber systems. We have to recognize the contested cyber environment that we operate in, and we are shifting to zero trust principles. State and non-state actors try to attack our networks every day, and that attack surface spans the world across every service, combatant command, and warfighting domain. This is a no-fail mission for our nation and its warfighters. Joint Force Headquarters DODIN directs the defensive actions from millions of events across the attack surface of our DoD networks every day. Clever adversaries try to steal our credentials, escalate privileges, and exfiltrate our data. Together, DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN defend the cyber domain while providing the tools necessary for our forces to deter or defeat aggression across every warfighting domain: cyber, land, air, sea, and space. That's why we are embracing zero trust to prevent data breaches. We are working to build more security and efficiency into all of our processes and products from start to finish. Zero Trust is designed to ensure the people and devices accessing our critical infrastructure, resources, and information are the ones who are supposed to be accessing them. This will apply to our data and critical resources both on-premise and off-premise, from our data centers to our mobile devices. In the traditional perimeter or castle and moat approach to defending our networks, if our adversaries make it across the moat, they have free rein inside the castle. We are working to end that with the three principles of zero trust. The first principle is never trust, always verify. It ensures that all users and devices are treated as untrusted, and everything is authenticated and explicitly authorized to the least privilege required using dynamic security policies. Our second principle is to assume breach, to consciously operate and defend resources with the assumption that an adversary is present within our environment. When we deny by default, we will also heavily scrutinize requests for system access, users, devices, and data flows. All traffic will be logged and inspected. The third principle is to verify explicitly, that all resources must be consistently accessed in a secure manner using multiple attributes, both dynamic and static, to derive confidence levels for contextual access to resources. This paradigm shift from a network-centric to a data-centric security model will affect every arena of our cyber domain, focusing first on how to protect our data and critical resources, and then secondarily on our networks. Data are indeed the ammunition of the future fight, and that ammunition has to be at the ready. This new cybersecurity model will enable us to better support our warfighters, national leaders, and mission partners. To enhance collaboration on Zero Trust, we hosted a Zero Trust Architecture technical exchange meeting back in May. We also hosted the second annual DoD Zero Trust Workshop in June that brought together over 170 experts from across DoD. We are working with the DoD Chief Information Officer, U.S. Cyber Command, and the National Security Agency to develop the DoD Zero Trust Reference Architecture in the Joint Interoperability Test Command Lab. The pillar model is being used to align core capabilities needed for Zero Trust and guide our lab testing. While specific products that represent portions of our current enterprise capabilities will be tested to support reference architecture development, the objective outcome will be vendor agnostic to enable adoption and diversity across the DoD community. This work will inform and guide the department's efforts to evolve toward a next-generation architecture. It will align cybersecurity and IT efforts to optimize tailorable, risk-based decisions based on performance and security. It also will serve as a framework and architecture to guide cultural change in how we operate and defend our information environment. It won't replace many of our current systems, tools, or technologies, but it will enable us to take a more holistic approach to integrating, augmenting, and optimizing existing functionality to evolve our enterprise architecture. This framework is a critical part of our overarching strategic plan for DISA, which will incorporate functionality already resident within a number of our existing portfolios, such as identity, credential, and access management, Comply to Connect, Assured Identity, User Access Management, Analytics, and Security Automation, Orchestration, and Response. And it will certainly require collaboration or convergence across traditional program portfolios. We need to recognize that convergence and collaboration will extend across the joint environment, and we will continue to work towards a common vision for a next-gen architecture. As we evolve, identity management and data encryption are critical to ensuring joint interoperability in an improved user experience across multiple environments. Closing our gaps and seams will depend upon our ability to consistently automate security policy across these environments. More dynamic attributes will inform access decisions for every session, rather than a static binary plan for network access. Zero Trust will challenge our cyber workforce to use capabilities differently as firewalls and other capabilities have evolved. We need to make sure that we are effectively implementing and integrating them, and not just buying a list of tools and declaring success. The need for Zero Trust has been highlighted by the COVID-19 pandemic. We have dynamically increased bandwidth across the department to facilitate a massive increase in our telework capabilities for both government-furnished and managed devices, as well as personal unmanaged devices. In the complex cyber domain that we operate in today, telework or not, every member of our joint force is on the front lines in the cyber fight and plays a critical role in this paradigm shift, because every service member, civilian, and contractor is a cyber defender. Anyone who accesses our information technology resources has a responsibility to help defend them, and that is increasingly true today. If you generate, process, store, and share data, you are potentially putting that data at risk if you aren't consciously protecting that data. As the pandemic evolves, the Department of Defense will not go back. We are going forward in this new world with a more mobile-ready and more resilient workforce. Industry partners play an incredibly important role in moving forward with us. This is why we use the phrase trusted partner when describing our relationship with our industry partners. Our collaboration must be based on open, interoperable standards for technology. This is critical to integrate functional solutions for enhanced cybersecurity across the department. Our objective is to provide a better, more seamless user experience with security built in. We welcome your feedback on how we can modify, optimize, and evolve our processes to more rapidly enhance the Department of Defense's overall cybersecurity posture. We are looking for our industry partners to collaborate with each other and collectively offer advice on how to better use the latent functionality within our current architecture. Our industry partners know that the system complexity adds vulnerability, so we are looking to streamline and simplify security solutions in the future. As I look at innovations that could dramatically impact how we deter or defeat threats to our nation, it is critically important that we continue to work together to stay ahead of our nation's adversaries. Trust between industry and DISA is essential to meeting the increasing demands of our mission partners, the department, and ultimately the nation. DISA needs its trusted partners to be transparent about their technology's capabilities and its ability to be scalable solutions for the critical problems that DoD has to solve on a daily basis. Our trusted partners must incorporate cybersecurity and supply chain risk management into everything they do, from the concept phase to the final product or service. When industry brings us a proposal, we need you to be frank and open about what it can do and where it can fit in our operations. You have to know and understand our no-fail mission. A technology that could be a great solution for a smaller problem will not match the scope and scale of the problems that DoD confronts every day. To add something to our Defense Information Systems Network, our industry partners have to know and be able to explain how it could support combat operations in the future. We cannot afford to test emerging technology in a crisis or in combat. In addition to being able to scale, our industry partners need to think about speed, simplicity, sustainability, and interoperability when working with DISA. Part of why DISA exists is to ensure interoperability, and that's critical for warfighting conditions across all DoD components. Being a trusted industry partner also means helping us to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. Industry partners can do this by giving us the best value and best product possible. At DISA, we are working to improve our acquisition process by being more transparent. In addition to hosting our annual Forecast to Industry conference, our DISA program managers are spending more time with industry and being as transparent as they can be about our missions, goals, and capability gaps. We hope this process will help industry to focus their time, talent, and resources in the areas where we need the most help. I say all this because the future fight is already here. Right now, we have adversaries who actively seek to harm our nation and its standing in the world by constantly attacking us in the cyber domain. They seek to sow discord in our society, to steal our critical information, and to hack away at our technological edge. Our nation's enemies are relentless, even during this pandemic. DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN work hard every day to thwart these threats, but you also play a critical role. If you seek to join forces with DISA, whether you are a soldier taking orders here, a government civilian, or an industry partner, this is what I want you to remember today. We are all in this together. When you partner with us, this is not just our fight. This is your fight too, and the warfighter is counting on all of us. According to a 2019 study, the U.S. needs to grow its cybersecurity workforce by 62% to deal with evolving threats. For the students who are here today, we want you to join us in this fight. Information technology and cybersecurity are both growth industries with a lot of jobs in the private sector, but I encourage you to consider serving your nation. The most important, meaningful job you can have is one where you make a lasting difference in the world. That is what we are offering at DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN. Consider joining us. We are in a generational fight, and we need the next generation to pick up the torch and help shape the future. Visit disa.mil and check out our internship and job opportunities. We have increased our engagement with colleges and universities across the country, including historically Black colleges and universities. These partnerships are key in our effort to raise awareness about our important mission and the employment opportunities we have for graduating seniors and others who may not have had DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN on their radar. We have been invited by faculty and administrators to discuss ways to enhance curricula that will ensure graduates are better prepared to grow the cyber workforce for our nation. We have a shared interest in the success of these students, so contact DISA, partner with us, and together we can create real-world opportunities through internships and special projects that expand upon their classroom instruction. Thank you all for this opportunity to share how we work together with our industry and mission partners every day to ensure that our nation maintains its digital edge. DISA marked its 60th birthday 2 months ago. Starting with only 34 members, the Defense Communications Agency was established on May 12, 1960, and it would go on to become DISA, our nation's premier IT combat support agency. Today, we have a combined military, civilian, and contractor workforce of more than 18,000 professionals, serving in 7 nations, 22 states, DC, and Guam. We enable military operations around the world and across every warfighting domain while operating and defending cyberspace. In June, we held a virtual ceremony to mark the Army's 245th birthday at our headquarters on one of our nation's most important Army posts. We proudly celebrated the service of generations of soldiers who have defended our freedom. The Army Signal Corps confronts new threats and has developed the tools, tactics, and techniques to overcome them. DISA and Joint Force Headquarters DODIN are developing ways to access our data from any place, any time, using zero trust principles to secure our data, knowing that the Army Signal Corps and the rest of our mission partners will serve as a vanguard of this important change. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you.